By trading up, she's also losing her cheap tracker. We talked about this a little bit last week. Let's hear what Trina thinks she should do.
Everybody says, Brendan, your cracker is to lose your tracker. So that's really the hard piece of the whole thing, because, we're comfortable with the mortgage we have at the moment, and if we do go on to a variable rate, we'll be at the mercy of the banks. So that's the difficulty. There's such comfort in the tracker mortgage when you hear about the interest rates going up. Like, you think, well, they're not going to get me because I have my tracker, I'm safe. Everybody's so sick of the banks and everything that's happened to the country, and you think, well, one way that, you're kind of getting one over on them is you have your tracker mortgage, so...
Is it only about financial issues?
Absolutely not. I mean, if it was about financial issues, we'd be staying here, but basically we want more space for our family, and we'd hope to move into an area that we would consider to have better schools. So when we bought this house, we kind of said we'd stay here for 5 years, but now we want to settle down, and we're looking for our forever house. It's somewhere we'd be looking to grow old in, hopefully. So we'll be a lot more picky, I suppose, about the house that we do buy.
Just in relation to the tracker, is there any way that she can hold on to it? Because we were talking, and you surprised me greatly a couple of weeks ago talking about Kate, who was offered a tracker when she couldn't pay her variable rate mortgage. She was in financial difficulties. So was there any way that Trina could negotiate a tracker again, or are those days gone?
No, I mean, once she sells her house, the loan agreement is effectively, that mortgage is terminated and she's out there buying a new mortgage. There's one or two very exceptional cases where you can keep a tracker, but not if you're borrowing more money. So the bank will just say to her, your mortgage is finished, thank you very much, and now would you like to take out a new mortgage, and this is the new rate. But it's very interesting there that she refers to your last the guy who emailed you there, Colm, who said this is stop looking at houses as investments. I mean, she's very clear here. She is putting the financial issues in perspective. She sees this as her home. She sees this as the place where she wants to raise her family. I think she described it as her forever home. So she realises that, financially she'd probably be better off staying where she was for a little while longer, keeping her tracker. But it's not purely a financial issue.
Is there any danger that having sold the house that they're in at the moment, they might not get a mortgage?
I think it's quite light in her situation. She has somewhere around 165,000 between savings and the profit she'll make in selling her own house. Not so much the profit as the excess of the value of the house over the remaining mortgage. So she has a good lump of money. Both she and her husband are in well-paid jobs. She's a public servant, so very, very safe job. And I think she's going to be, she'll be one of the people who will get a mortgage. But she should. It's something that she should bear in mind. Just not to just assume that she'll get a mortgage easily. And even when she gets approved for the mortgage, it can take a long time. All of the paperwork has to be right up to date and in place.
Is there any danger at this stage that if they wait for the bottom of the market, that house prices might suddenly, I can't think of how they would, but suddenly start rising again, and it costs them more to get back on the housing ladder, and they're even worse off, and that's the wisdom of making this move appears to be, shot through.
Well, no, I think her overall plan, sell first and then buy again in time, rent for a while and buy again. I think that's the right strategy. You do have to
probably have to sign the lease for a year.
But it'll probably be somewhere like 12 grand. So, I mean, again, in the overall context of things, she that wouldn't be a major worry for her. I think you do have to be just a little bit careful that you don't hang on forever. She did say herself, you can't time the bottom of the market. You can't time the top of the market. If she sees the house of her dreams 6 months into renting and it's cheap, I think she'll move, and I think that's the right way to go. There is a small danger, although, it seems quite small. In the past, when house prices fell and people sold their house and they sort of waited for prices to go further, and then suddenly they started going up again, there were a few people who found it more difficult to get on the ladder. It's quite a nice time to be buying a house because you're not bidding against loads of other people. When the market does go up, now I don't know when it's going to go up,
or
if it goes up. There's no signs of it at the moment. But when the market does recover, you start buying in a market where there's loads of buyers out there and the sellers are getting choosy again.
Well, as John texts in to say, how will prices rise with 11,000 new builds last year in an already flooded market, and also, as we've heard, about 300,000 unoccupied houses around the country? Okay, now some of those are holiday homes and so on and so forth. Anyway, Brendan, thank you very much for that. And if you have a money story, remember you can tell us about it. You can contact us here on the programme at todaypk@rte.ie, or you can email Brendan directly at brendan@askaboutmoney.com. And the Money Stories slot is an independent production brought to you by Clockwork.